Hey, landlords, it is time for change. It's time right now, and we are starting this change now. If you haven't seen the other video, just check the description. You'll see a link right there, and it is an open letter to all landlords and all tenants. And here we are. We have some landlord questions. We're going to answer them, and we are going to begin the process right now of changes within our rental industry here in Ontario. So let's jump right into it, and we have some questions directly from landlords.
Why should I get involved in advocating for rental system change in Ontario?
Yeah, so that's a good question. We need every landlord involved. We need every single tenant involved. It is so very important that we all stand in the same room.
Yeah.
And if you as a landlord, if you don't get involved, then there is no change. There's nothing that we can do. There's nothing that anybody can do. So it's very important that you do get involved into this process, because if you do, and when you do, and we hope that you do, then we can begin making the changes and pushing forward the different things that we have that we're working together. So
If you are expecting, things to happen in your community, or you're expecting things to happen in your province or your country, and you expect those things to happen without anybody doing anything, then, that's not a realistic view of the world. So, I mean, you can say, well, why should I get involved, or what can I do? But if everybody says that, then just nothing's going to happen, right? So
here's the problem with that is I actually did this many years ago, and I've been a very strong advocate for landlords. And I created a system. I created a website. This goes back many years.
Mhm.
And I've had so many landlords say, I want to be a part. I want to be a part.
Yeah.
I want to do this. I want to make a change. I want to be part of the change. But when it comes to action, everybody sat back down in their seats
yeah,
and nothing happened.
and that can't happen. And if that's what's going to happen, if you have that attitude, like, why should I get involved, then nothing will take off, nothing will go anywhere, right?
Yeah.
If we said the same thing, well, why should I get involved, then we wouldn't be sitting here now, right?
No, yeah. I mean, we're investing all this energy into this.
Yeah.
And, we think about what's here and us sitting down here, what's on the other side of the camera here, of us organizing this and talking about it. And literally spending hours, figuring it out and coming to a solution. But we're here, and we need you as well.
Absolutely.
How will advocating for change benefit both landlords and tenants?
If you want to jump right in.
Yeah. Look, the reality is that, landlord businesses, or the business of being a landlord, requires tenants. And, if you're a tenant looking for a rental, you need a landlord, right? And so if we're having problems for landlords, then that trickles down to have tenants having issues as well, and vice versa. If tenants are having issues, they will end up going on to the landlord. It's a synergy between both sides of this coin, right? So, everyone stands to lose together, and everybody stands to win together, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, we need to bring landlords and tenants into the same room and to have the conversation. And, well, let's face it, we can't treat this as a one-direction platform.
No.
Or system. And this is what's happening right now. So all of, the landlord petitions that are out there right now are all one-sided.
Mm-hmm.
And it can't be one-sided. We have to be in the same room, and we have to talk about, what is next, what needs to change. And, advocating for landlords, to me, is also advocating for tenants.
Yeah.
Because we have to win on each side.
Yeah.
The landlord has to win, and the tenant has to win.
Yeah.
And it's the only way that any type of change is going to happen. And it's probably only any way that our voices are going to be heard in the end.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
If it's a one-sided thing, like you're saying, and the focus is only on one party, then obviously you're leaving out an entire half of the room, right? Which makes no sense. So there has to be a joining together on these issues.
100%.
What specific challenges do landlords face in Ontario's current rental system?
Lots of challenges. And this is why we are talking about this today. I mean, the challenges are just ongoing. Let's see it. I mean, Caleb, you're on the phone all day talking to landlords.
You know, there's definitely a disconnect between tenants and landlords, right? And there's definitely a disconnect between the understanding of how a tenancy should function, right? And so what I see one of the things that I see is that landlords feel like once they put a tenant in their home, they lose that property. The property is no longer theirs, and it's definitely not the case, right? But you know, landlords will say like, I feel like that's not my property anymore. It doesn't belong to me.
Yeah.
You know, but they are responsible for it, and that it makes no sense that somebody could own something, and because someone else is making use of it, you know, or being allowed to make use of it, they no longer own it, right?
You know, yeah, you're absolutely right, Caleb. I mean, the system is not in place to protect the good people. It's not in place to protect good landlords or to protect good tenants. And that just go with the most common scenario, non-payment of rents.
Yeah.
The N4.
Yeah.
Right? So people do fall in hard times, and it's unfortunate, and it happens. You know, but generally speaking, there has to be some type of system in place that when a tenant doesn't pay rent, we can't wait 3, 4, 5 months for a hearing and then have another delay for judgment, right?
Yeah, I mean,
And
one of those things, like you're saying, is that, you know, a landlord will wait to get that hearing, and they get the arrears ordered, and then, you know, the tenant may still not pay the arrears, and then they'll have to go through, you know, a court process to try and get those monies, right? And it could take a very long time, but in that time, if that landlord's relying on that revenue or that income, right? You know, they sometimes will be in a position where they're losing their house,
Yep.
or they're losing, you know, they're losing other assets, right, to try and pay for the tenant to live there for free.
But yeah, so I mean, to answer that question, there's a lot of answers here. This is just, you know, a tip of the iceberg of what needs to change. And,
Yeah.
you know, that's one thing that you know, we have some ideas. We're going to talk about them in another video. But at the end of the day, we need the support. We need landlords who want this. We need tenants who are also interested, who want this change as well, because this is going to benefit tenants at the same time.
Absolutely.
But, you know, now it's time that we need to put all of these questions together and come up with answers that are actual real answers, that are real solutions, that give real benefits to the good people.
What steps can be taken to create a fairer rental system for both landlords and tenants?
Like we were saying before, like there has to be a conversation, not just including landlords, but also bringing tenants into the room, and vice versa. It can't just be tenants having their own discussion, but, you know, landlords have to be in the room, because the solution is going to be found in both parties. Just like how we could say the problem is affecting both parties, the solution is going to be there with both parties. And if they don't talk, if we don't see some kind of coming together or unity on some of the problems, then, you know, there's no realistic way to get to a solution, right?
Yeah, so I think part of creating that fairness is looking on the other side of the window. And if we don't look on the other side of the window, meaning look at other provinces, look at all of the states in the U.S., and really start researching on what works for some of those other states or provinces.
Yeah.
And find the ones that are better than us.
Yeah.
Find the regions or the jurisdictions that is better than Ontario.
Yeah.
We will find a lot.
Yeah. There's so many jurisdictions in Canada alone, like you're just referencing, and, you know, we see much better synergy between landlords and tenants. And, you know, there's a lots of different jurisdictions in the U.S. that, you know, people rent all over the world. People rent all over North America, right? And there's so many components that we could probably adopt here in Ontario that would definitely, I think, have a better impact on improving the relationship between landlords and tenants. Because at the end of the day, that's what we need to see happen. And we need that to be reflected also in the legislation and in the regulations that control renting in Ontario.
Absolutely. So yeah, that definitely has to happen. And, you know, like you said, one of the first things you said is we need to all be in the same room.
Yeah.
And it's the only way that we can really start figuring out the true answer to this. There's a lot of answers, but, you know, most of those answers are not going to work. And, you know, there's going to be no traction of making that change.
Yeah.
So it's up to someone, an organization or somebody willing to spend the time and the money to be able to come up with these answers and come up with proper answers.
Yeah.
Because right now, everything that we've seen and everything that I've studied through my years is basically a waste of time.
Yeah.
Nothing is happening. All of those petitions are all just paperweight.
Yeah.
You know?
Is there a risk that advocating for change might lead to more regulations or restrictions on landlords?
Can it get worse, Caleb?
I mean, the reality is, right, that regulations are there, right? And there are already restrictions, right? And they're not going to go anywhere, right? It's not really so much a risk that there's going to be more, right? I think the problem is rather that the regulations and restrictions that are there aren't going to change. That's what we should be scared of. Not more regulations and restrictions, but no change in the ones that we already have, right? I mean, if we're saying it's bad, right? We're saying it's bad, right? How much worse can it get?
Yeah, the risk, exactly what you just said. The risk is no change.
Yeah.
That's the biggest risk.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, I mean, it can't get worse than where we're at right now.
Yeah.
It just cannot.
How can landlords actively participate in advocating for change?
I mean, if you're watching this video, that's the first step, right?
Yep.
Like you're already kind of showing up and saying, "Hey, I have an interest in these in the issues that are affecting me," right? Participating in this organization, right? Joining together with us as we embark on this journey. That's how you can get involved. You know, we're starting something here, right?
Yep.
That is going to act on behalf of landlords and tenants, right? We're looking for an outcome that's going to be beneficial to both sides, right? So, you know, if you want to join us, right, there's going to be a way to do that.
Yep. Yeah. So there's a few different ways, and keep in mind that we're beginning this process, and what we have to do is we have to create the traction, and quite honestly, we can't do anything if you are not interested. And we just can't. So, like I said, I've done this many times before in the past. And, you know, when I stood up and I started taking the voice, landlords at that point sat down. And I invested a lot of time and a lot of money into it. And, you know, landlords, from what I've learned from the past, speak up when it doesn't affect their time. And the moment it affects their time is when they sat down. And that has to change. So participating, you know, like Caleb said there, watching this video is a big step. If you haven't watched our open letter to all tenants and landlords in Ontario, you must watch that. And when you do watch it, both of the descriptions, especially on YouTube, you're going to see different links in the description. You'll see a link to our web page that specifically talks about this change. That one is olhgroup.ca/change. You'll see it in the description. You'll have all of the information that you need just right there on our website. On our home page, you'll see a link there as well. And one thing that we're going to be doing, I'm sorry, we already have done it.
Yeah.
Actually, we were working on it as our whole team. We put together the petition this morning. And this is not just like every other petition out there. There is hundreds of petitions out there. This is not one of those. This is not a paperweight waste of time petition. This is a very serious petition that we are self-funding. We are self-funding this.
Yeah.
It is costing us money to spend our time, our energy, our focuses, and be in putting this together for change. So this is not like those petitions. So we need every single landlord by participating in that petition. You'll get those links, just like where I mentioned earlier. You need to go in there and you need to sign that petition. The next step is we need to update every single landlord and tenant who is interested in this change on a regular basis, only when there is an update. So on our website, sign up for our newsletter on the change page, because this is a very specific newsletter, and it's only going to be for this change. And when there's an update, you'll receive an email of the update.
Yes.
It's super important that we have every single landlord who is part of these updates, because as we progress, as we get more attention, as more landlords come and tenants, and once we have enough landlords that we feel that, okay, we have enough traction, we're going to really start focusing now. Even though we have spent several hours up to this moment now, but when
we'll be able to dedicate more time and more energy, right? When we're seeing when the interest is there and we have the support, right? Then okay, like exactly what you're saying. It's like, okay, now we can start going into second gear, third gear. Let's go full steam ahead.
And we're doing it.
Yeah.
We are going to do this.
Yeah.
And we're going to do it right. And we are going to do it the best.
Absolutely.
There is going to be nobody who's going to match what we're going to put together. And I will write these words on the wall behind me. And we will put this so that way it is in ink. We will be the best. And we will find the answer. And we are going to start the process of making this change. But then it starts with your participation, because without any participation, there's nothing that we can do. We're voiceless words.
Yeah.
That's a great question. We just need you to participate.
What role do tenants play in this advocacy for a revamped rental system?
So the industry of providing rentals or being a landlord, right? It's a service industry in a way. You provide accommodations, and your tenant pays for those accommodations, right? And when we're providing services, if we ignore the people we're providing services to, and we don't talk to them and ask them what they want or ask them what they think, right, then we'll never know how to better provide those services. At the end of the day, it's not just about, a landlord just taking money from a tenant, and that's not what's happening. There's an exchange, right? There's an exchange of the property and the money, right? The tenant's paying for that service, and the landlord's providing that service. So we want to make sure that we don't ignore the ones that are going to be consuming the services that are in this industry.
You're absolutely right. I'd like to add on to that as well. You're talking about the service aspect.
Yeah.
Now let's jump right into, which I think the question is also asking, what role can they be in a part of this change?
Yeah.
And I think that they play a pivotal role.
Yeah.
And I really think that they do, because, we have our own tenants, and, we have some really amazing tenants.
Yeah.
And, tenants that I know that respects me, and I know that respects us as an organization. And these tenants also need to be heard.
Yeah.
Because if they're not heard, then we can't advocate for a change.
Yeah.
We need to all be in the same room.
Yeah.
We need to share a table, and we need to talk about what needs to change. We need to be completely transparent with each other, because we're not starting this petition as a one-sided petition.
No. Yeah.
We are not putting a wall up here and saying, tenants, you on that side, we're going to come on this side. No, this is something that has to change for this industry, and we need to be in the same room. And tenants out there who are good tenants, you know who you are. You know if you're genuinely a good person. You know that. and I'm not only saying this in direction to tenants, I'm talking to landlords too,
Yeah.
because there is just as bad landlords than just as bad tenants. So I mean, it works both sides.
Yeah.
Right. And by having the tenants join the same room, the same table, now we can understand their feelings with this, and having, good tenants who are part of this petition and this change, it's going to benefit you and in so many different ways. Because let's face it, I have some really great tenants, even friends of mine that are looking for rental properties, and it's hard for them to find a rental property in this marketplace.
Yes. Yeah.
And not all tenants are ready this moment to buy a property to live in.
Yeah.
And it's not, maybe they are ready, but they don't want to pay the high interest rates, because when you start calculating the dollars and the cents and the interest and what it's costing over the course of the next year and what potentially can happen in this market over the next year and the values going down, I mean, they may find it to be a better solution to rent right now.
Yeah.
And those tenants have great paying jobs. They have a great credit report. They have a great history. And they're finding it tough to get a rental property.
Yeah.
So by bringing the tenants into the same room, we want those kind of tenants. The system works for you.
Yeah.
And that's what has to happen.
Yeah. Yeah. We don't want the people that are not doing things right to be the ones benefiting. We want to see that those that, like you're saying, tenants that, respect the laws and respect their responsibilities as tenants, and landlords that are also respecting their responsibilities and their obligations, and that's what we want to see, right? We want to see them come together and them be the ones that
absolutely
that have the say. That would make the most sense.
100%.
And it's like, I think we were talking earlier today, and it's a majority. It's a majority of good tenants and good landlords, just good people, right, who happen to be wearing different hats, right? So,
we were all a tenant one day.
Absolutely,
landlords, I mean, for the most part, we started our careers as tenants, and, unless, some of the more fortunate, landlords who were born into it. But, I mean, generally speaking, I mean, even their parents, may have been a tenant at some point.
Yeah.
And, that's just a stepping stone to life and the stepping stone to success and, getting to the next level in life. And, we have to be in the same room.
Yeah.
That's it. We have to be in the same room. So, we want support from tenants with this action as well, with this change.
Yeah.
And I think it's important, tenants who are here, who are with us, who are watching and who are paying attention. This is not a one-sided approach. This is a double-sided. And we are here to make this better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What makes this advocacy effort different from previous attempts or petitions for change in Ontario's rental laws?
Basically, what I would say is that there's hundreds of petitions out there.
Yeah.
Maybe thousands of petitions. And through all of these years that I've been in business, I mean, I have seen countless petitions.
Yeah.
They're just words.
Yeah.
There's somebody who just wrote these words together and say, I want change and I want something to change in this industry.
Yeah.
And it only goes as far as that digital signature, click the button, and leaves their computer.
Yeah.
It's done. It's over. What happened? Where are they bringing this to?
Yeah.
Who are they bringing it to?
Yeah.
Who's talking about it? Who is going to put together a team? And who is going to put the right people, some of the brightest minds, lawyers and some of the best lawyers, and to start getting all of us into the same room. This is the difference. That's the difference. And this is what we're going to do. We are creating a voice. We are creating a system. We are creating an organization. And we are going to really dive deep. And when I say deep, I'm talking not just what's in my mind. I mean, I have a lot of ideas.
Yeah.
but like, in your mind.
Yeah.
And then collectively with all of us, I mean, all of our team members in this office, we have some really amazing people that are working in this office. We have some of the brightest minds here, and not just their minds. We're going to dive deeper into bringing people in and to finding this answer.
Yeah.
I mean, we have many ideas. We're not sharing this moment yet.
Yeah, it's not time, right?
No,
But
it's not. But we have some really industry-changing ideas.
yeah.
But, once we bring more people into the room, we're going to really start, creating something to be talked about, something to be read, something that we can bring to Ottawa and start forcing these changes.
Yeah, I think you touched on everything that I would say. It's it's the work, right? It's exactly what you're saying. The difference is that we're actually doing the work and we're going to do the work. It's not just a piece of paper or just click a button, right? It's going somewhere.
No, and like we mentioned earlier, this is self-funded.
Yeah.
So like this is self-funded.
Yeah, we're already invested in this, right? We've already invested in. It's not we're not waiting for anybody. We're trying to get something started.
Yeah.
We're doing it on our own right now, so we're asking for support.
Yeah.
Essentially is what it is.
That's what we need, participation.
Are you actually starting a nonprofit? Why not make money off of it?
Yes, we are. And this is not a business. This is a change. This is a movement. And we need a not-for-profit organization. And we need to be able to, like I mentioned in our last question, is get the right people and, like-minded individuals. And we need to bring them onto our team. And we need to create a system where, we can put together a team, through memberships.
Yeah.
And find the best lawyers
Yeah.
and get the best lawyers in this room right here.
Yeah.
And to start talking to us.
Yeah.
And not only that is create the voice, create the image, create the idea.
Yeah.
And bring it to life and start driving to locations.
Yeah.
Talking to MPs, talking, to anybody who's going to listen to us and bring it to Parliament.
Yeah.
And start really putting a system and an organization that is organized and transparent behind this not-for-profit organization. This is not a business. No one's profiting off of this. And, the reality is that we're not going to get anywhere if we don't have an organization and, a really well-groomed system with the right people and the right minds.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not about there's nothing to make money for this, right? It's not about making money. It's about helping others who have stand to lose is stand to gain, right?
Yeah.
So there's no need to make this a business, and that's not the purpose of it. The purpose of it is to push the change that we're discussing, and to have an organization that has the strength to do it, right?
Yep.
So that's all this is about.
Yeah, that's it. It's the participation of landlords. We have a far reach through Ontario already, and we have just over 26,000 members. And, if every single one of those members were willing to contribute to the time and our investment into this, we don't have any monetary value at this moment right now, but let's just say every landlord, threw in $150 in the pile a year for the membership. Now we can get the brightest minds. We can create that. We can get the proper office environment. We can get the proper roundtables where we can set these discussions up.
Yeah.
And, we can really start pushing this change and, going to the places that we need to start talking to the people that we need to, and really start paying attention. And with what we're going to do, and again, I'm going to write it right on this wall. If anybody wants to throw a marker at me, I'll write it right now, that we are going to be completely transparent with this. We are, and when you join that newsletter, that's specifically made for this. We want to basically create a day in the life of what we're doing, and we're talking video content. We're talking, YouTube, Facebook, on our group, Landlord, Ontario Landlord Help Group on Facebook. We're going to be really being transparent with this movement. Non-for-profit organization is what's going to get us there.
Yeah.
Before all of this, we haven't reached that point yet.
Yeah.
If we get enough traction, enough landlords, then we are going to reach that point. And we plan on doing it. It is December 19th today.
Yeah.
We plan on doing this in January. Literally, right after the holidays.
Yeah.
We're going to dive right into this. But it all depends on the participation of landlords. And now, up until that moment, this is all self-funded.
Yeah.
So this is money that we put into this, and we are spending the time, and it is not cheap. It is very, very expensive, and this is why there's nobody else doing this.
Yeah. Yeah.
And does it benefit me personally? Well, when I outweigh the cost of what it is for me putting this together, no, it doesn't. It doesn't. But I'm doing it. And is it going to benefit me when we have 20,000, memberships? Yes, it will, because we have a voice. Now we're heard, and now we can talk to the right people, the right minds, and create the right systems.
Yeah.
And when we make the change, is going to be a day of celebration.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe it's going to be a new national holiday. I don't know. But, we do plan on doing that. And we plan on being the best.
Yeah, I agree.
If the government is the one who created this problem, why are we going to the government to try to fix it?
We're going to them with the solution and demanding they implement it, right? So we're not asking, right, for them to provide the solution. We're working out the solution ourselves and creating, those systems and designing those components ourselves, and bringing it and saying, hey, this is the package that we'd like you to implement, right? We're not waiting and relying, but we need the people that are in power, right, who have that control, to listen to us and to understand what it is we're asking them to do, right? But at the same time, no, they're not fixing it. We're going to fix it ourselves, landlords and tenants together.
And it starts with numbers.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like we said earlier, no one has a true system in place right now. At least no one's public about it. I don't even know if what we've come up with, because we've talked a lot about it.
Yeah.
If what we have as an idea to put in place is the right answer.
Yeah.
Right? But the only way to get to the answer is to research it and, to break it down.
Yeah.
And to have, the right minds at play here, and then step foot, and, one foot leads to another foot moving forward.
Yeah.
And, if we keep rolling in that direction, I think what's very important is the market research here.
Yeah.
And we need to go to the other provinces, and we need to find out what works there.
Yeah.
We need to go across the border into the U.S.
See what works there as well. Yeah.
Yep. We need to see what they're doing and research it and spend the time to see what they're doing, and then we have something to compare to.
Yeah.
And only when we have those comparisons is when we can really bring a change to the industry.
Yeah.
Because we can't just invent a process. No one's going to listen.
No.
Right? We have to find something that we can compare to.
Yeah.
That's, at the end of the day, basically.
Yeah, exactly. And like you said, you can't just invent the process, right? And we can't expect that the government's just going to invent the process also, right? If we don't go there with something to say, if we don't go there with the solution, if we haven't done the research, as you said, right, then, there's really no way that we, tenants and landlords together, right, can fix the problem, right? It's for us to fix, right, and it's for the government to to support us in doing that, right?
100%. What did the landlord and tenant process do right recently? What is one thing that they have done right?
One thing I really love that they created was the standard lease, right?
There you go.
And implementing that. It's an amazing tool that landlords and tenants are able to use in their relationship, right? That kind of, captures all of the needs of the tenant and the landlord together, right? That standard lease has been something that really changed.
Yeah, and
the
so why did
game.
it stop there?
Yeah, exactly.
Why did
right?
it stop there?
So,
leases were all over the board. And I know this because I've written thousands of leases.
Yeah.
And I used to have a template that I followed, and, we went through 1 through, 46 clauses that we wrote with our own words. We didn't have no chat GPT then.
Yeah.
We wrote this stuff out. And, when I have a client and said, no, I want this added, I want this added, I want this added, I want this added. And it's like, okay, now we have 51 clauses.
Yeah. Yeah.
So why did it stop with the Ontario standard lease?
Yeah.
I don't know. But we're going to find the answer.
Yeah.
And this is part of what this organization is going to do. And, we need to, bring more focus and more attention to this.
Yeah. Absolutely. There's a lot of other ways, or there's a lot of other things that, we could look at, we'll have time to discuss that. Right. But we know that, there are ways to improve the situation, improve or fix some of those problems, because we've seen some problems get fixed, right?
Yeah.
But there are some main issues. There are some core problems that we're yet to address, and we'll touch on that more as we go on this journey.
I really do hope that there's tenants in here as well who are paying attention, and landlords. I can't say it enough that. It's time that we all personally take a little bit of our own time and we advocate for this change together. It's very important that we work together and we begin the process of having our voices heard. And it's just so important. So we're here. Check the description in this video here if you're on YouTube right now. Check that description or just visit our website. You'll see all the information you need right there.
Mm-hmm.
Join that newsletter because that's very important because we're going to be putting updates in there. You're not going to be spammed email. You're not going to be getting advertising, nothing along those lines. This newsletter for the change is specifically just for updates. And it's very important that we are transparent with this.
Yeah.
It's very important that landlords are informed of our progress.
Yeah.
Because we need every single landlord literally just to take a little chunk out of your time. And, let's work together in making this change.
The main thing is to participate, right?
Yeah.
Don't just watch and not jump in there, not join in, right? We don't want an audience. We're not looking for an audience. We're looking for, collaborators. We're looking for, support. We're looking for people to participate. That's the main thing.
First step.
Yeah.
First step of us making anything that's going to make any sense here.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
Okay. Thanks for watching, everybody. I appreciate it. My name's Paul J. Roulard.
Caleb Minta.
And this is us. And it's not just us. We have a full team who is pushing for this change. So thanks for watching, and we hope that you join. So take care.